As mentioned, the president of TTUTA joins me on the Zoom line, Mr. Martin Lumpkin, as we discuss the new school term, of course, some of the issues and concerns, and it's always important to hear from TTUTA. Mr. Lumpkin, good morning and Happy New Year to you, your family, and of course, by extension, all the members of TTUTA.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Williams, and Happy New Year to you, your family, to the CNC3 family as well, and to Trinidad and Tobago. We look forward to a brighter 2024.
Indeed. I want to get into some of the early, well, at least a serious talking point here. I'm going to go to page 7. We'll come back, of course, to schools and the infrastructure in a bit, but I want to start off with this back pay scenario where hundreds of teachers did not get said back pay towards the end of calendar year 2023. Is there a particular number? And what's the reason, really, behind some teachers not receiving this back pay?
Okay, thank you for having me once again. And it is a concern to TTUTA. Our last count would have been about 404. Yesterday, we sent out a form to our members asking those who did not get the back pay to let us know. And so at the last count yesterday, we got about 404. And I imagine there are more after we would have checked. We understand the magnitude, what it takes to have the back pay being paid and the new salary. And we understand what, is the reasons. However, that brings no joy or relief to the members who were not paid the back pay. And we were getting feedback. Persons felt slighted, they felt discriminated against, whereby some members of the teaching service got theirs before the Christmas season, up until the 31st, which the Ministry of Education did promise to give the rest of the persons. And we understand that members of the Ministry of Education, as well as other ministries, were brought in to assist. They worked nights and days, sometimes weekends, sometimes during the vacation. The length of time it takes, because it's a 6-year period they have to go through, as well as the fact that it has to be audited afterwards, would lend to the length of time. And it's approximately 14,000 persons in the teaching service you're looking at. And so we understand the magnitude. However, it does not bring relief to our members, and they feel slighted as well. And it is hoped that because of the promise that, the rest of the teaching service would have gotten it, but up until yesterday, the 31st and 31st, there are hundreds of teachers who have not gotten it.
Yeah, thanks for that update. I want to go now and pivot towards the school itself, the infrastructure. Any issues at all? Of course, again, I'm guided here by the Guardian, page 7. I'm looking at some work being done last week at the Belmont Government Primary School, scaffolding up, men obviously doing the final touches on some painting, some roof work. I know the North Coast was deemed impassable literally over the weekend with that landslide that took place there. Any information concerning teachers who have to take that North Coast road to head to, let's say, Blanchie Shares and other places to teach? What's going on with the infrastructure and just the general setup for today, seeing that today is the first day out?
We are concerned, especially the teachers who have to go to the North Coast. Many of them traverse that North Coast road to get to their schools. They live outside of the area where the schools are located. Our information is that the Ministry of Works and the Minister of Works have not closed the road. It's deemed dangerous, and so persons who are traversing that road are taking a chance, as we say. And our teachers are very concerned because we do not know what can happen while they are passing. And we would hate to think that something can happen while they are on the road, or even while they go, when they go up to work, something happens and they are cut off. And so they are very, very concerned. And we are concerned for their safety as well. And we are hoping that the authorities can ensure that the safety of our educators while they go up to work. And we hear their concerns in terms of, they're not wanting to pass because we could understand the danger that can be had if they're going. And so even if the road is not closed, but you're saying that it is dangerous, that does not put the ease of mind of our educators.
Let me ask you, Mr. Lumpkin, are you calling for, would you make the bold call and tell your teachers who have to work on that side to stay home until that road is sorted out? What's your advice to those teachers?
We always advise our members that they have to take precaution in order to, whenever they are at school, we always call for a healthy and a safe environment. But if they have to go up there as well too, they have to assess the situation. And sorry, the Ministry of Education should not be placing undue pressure on our members to go through that roadway in order to report for duty. Yes, it's the first day of school and we understand supervision of children, but the safety of our members are our utmost concern as well too. And they have to assess the situation. And should they assess the situation such that they believe it will be unsafe or they are in imminent danger by utilizing that road, then we will make representation on their behalf once they come to us.
And in terms of the buildings itself, what's the report coming back to you concerning repairs, any issues that will cause a school this morning to keep the doors closed based on the latest information coming to you?
We haven't gotten any feedback as yet from our members, our staff reps, in terms of any school that would not reopen. We would imagine that this morning, if there are such challenges, we will be told. We have a concern with the Palmis Government Primary School. As you're aware, on the last day of school, the majority of the buildings were gutted by the fire. We understand that they are going to have parts of the school share the compound of the Londonville Government Primary School, and parts will be at the newly opened Edinburgh Community Center. So you could imagine, Mr. Williams, when an administrator principal has to manage two plants, it's a bit of a concern for us, a great concern. How are we going to account for the presence of the teachers and students at the two compounds? Is it that you're going to have two logbooks or two attendance registers and the whole management of that? The other issue is the distance of the Edinburgh Community Center from the present compound of the Palmis Government Primary School. I understand it is a long distance. How is the ministry going to deal with that? These are some of the issues that we have not been consulted with. And as the recognized majority union of our teachers, our educators are at school, we felt that the ministry should have reached out to us and have more dialogue and discussion on it. And so at this time, we cannot advise our members because we do not know what is taking place at this point in time.
Let me ask, as we again speak now to the conduct of the students and the approach by tutor and teachers to treat with some of the deviant behavior we would have seen last term. I mean, again, there are great stories to celebrate. We saw scholarships, we saw children involved in the parang. So I think, granted, on a given day, there are clearly way more good and students who fall in line compared to those who sometimes cross the line. But those who cross the line, it goes viral, it makes the news, people are up in arms. We would have seen issues last term with children taking contraband to school. That's a school down in South. We would have seen the expulsion of a female student with that exchange with her teacher. We saw what's happening in Tobago and all. I know your representative there always speaks to that. What's TTUTA's approach going into the term? And again, I know that the ministry would have made their stance. Of course, getting MILAT involved now, having that boot camp, exercise as part of a strategy. What was the greater strategy, the greater working plan to help curb some of the deviant behavior we would have seen last term?
So TUTA is always open to consultation and dialogue with the Ministry of Education. We represent the major players in the education system and the education sector. And whatever levels of violence and indiscipline affects our members as well too. Yes, it affects the running of the school, the students, and so forth. And we have been calling on the Ministry of Education that there are many programs that can be instituted. And we focus a lot on the secondary schools. What about the primary? What about the ECCE centers where the deviant behaviors can be detected and we can have meaningful intervention? The Student Support Services Division, which we believe is an integral part of this whole process of bringing violence and indiscipline, down. They are under-resourced, understaffed, and we have always been calling on the Ministry of Education that you need to beef up this Student Support Services Division, SSSD, in order to assist. This is one area. There are other areas, and I know they have tried with the restorative practices. That's at the secondary. The primary needs help as well, too. You don't hear much about the primary because it's much under control because of the type of children and the level at which they are. But these programs need to be introduced as well. As you spoke about MILAT, we have some concerns about the MILAT program. It may be a good program, however, it needs to be well thought of, and it cannot be the panacea for this issue. There are other issues that need to be addressed as well too. So you can have other programs of peer counseling, mediation, utilization of other arms of the government as well too. And it has to be a broad-based attack on violence and indiscipline. And we have said as well too, the school is a reflection of the community. And what you get in the community usually sometimes show its face in the schools. By and large in the past, schools were insulated because of the respect that schools had in the community. However, that respect is being eroded continuously, and you do not have that respect for the school, the teachers, educators, as you would have had in the past. And we need to work on that as well too. Even faith-based organizations play their part as well too, and the support to families as well too. The nucleus of the society and of Trinidad and Tobago, the family. We need to focus on the family as well too.
Yeah. You said something there and it piqued my interest, but we're running out of time, so I'll kind of save it for whenever we talk again, because the whole concept of the teacher, yes, there are people who, especially some students too, would have lost respect for some of their teachers. And I wonder if indeed there is any kind of policy, any kind of, even if it's not something written, if there is discussions with teachers as to the social media world we live in, because I know so many times, again, people, they're free to choose and post whatever they want, but the kind of access and we're able to see certain things now with our education professionals compared to when we were going to school. You saw Miss or Sir at school and that was it. You didn't know what was happening in their private life. So I sometimes wonder if the times we live in and the access is part of that erosion. But just, keep that as a food for thought, and we'll probably talk about it the next time. As we wrap things up, I'll give you a chance to send Happy New Year greetings to the TUTA community. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. And we want to wish all our members of the teaching service, members of the public, Trinidad and Tobago, a bright and a prosperous 2024. We look forward to better things in 2024. We learn from the mistakes of the past, and we are hoping that we can improve and have better service to our members and to Trinidad and Tobago. And I wish everyone success. And those who didn't get the back pay, we will work on representation at the Ministry of Education for you, as well as the retirees and Schedule 3 persons. I can't forget them at all.
Mr. Lumpkin, always a pleasure. Have a great one, and let's continue. When we talk again, let's remember that point, and let's probably dive a little deeper into that.
Sure. Yes, thank you for having me.
Always.
And all the best.
All the best. And you know what Mr. Lumpkin says, it's so true. You know, there is definitely this, well, there continues to be an erosion, really, of teachers and how people look at teachers, and even the building itself, people jumping in and jumping over wall to thief equipment from schools. It's really, I mean, it's obviously not across the length and breadth, but certain areas people have to deal and treat with that. So it's unfortunate, and we'll have to find a way to have that deeper discussion. Up next, let's pivot across to the Ministry of Labor. Very important discussion. The Labor Inspector 2 will join me to talk about the minimum wage increase and penalties for breaches. Let's have that very important discussion up next.